What up, gangster?
There we go. Something just changed.
I got you. I swapped you over to a panelist. What's happening?
This is too big compared to yours. I don't like that, Ryan.
Say what? Hold on. I want to make sure the whole world sees you. Got you on the screens. I got to go live on IG. That's why I always have everybody come in about 5-10 minutes early so we can set up, because there's all kinds of gimmicks here.
Yeah, I did something with Zach Childress. I don't know if you know him, but like he took the first 5 minutes to and I just thought, man, if I had to do all that, forget it.
Well, I used to have I had a production company that would do all this shit for me, and now I've got the studio this is my basement.
Yeah, so, I have a filming studio in my basement as well.
Boom. So I told my guys, I'm like, well, we're in the quarantine, so you can't come over here. So what I'm gonna do is you're gonna tell me how to set this thing up, and I've been running it ever since solo, which is okay, but there's still 6 minutes of setup.
1,000 things to do.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. So what's up, kid?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
I'm good. So overall, this is easy. This is simple. This is fun.
Oh yeah, I love it. And I love that it's not scripted. I really have no idea what we're going to talk about, but
that's the idea.
Okay.
So the idea behind why I do what I do is because I put this on for entrepreneurs. I want other entrepreneurs to see the ones that are struggling. You know, there's going to be a lot of people that have fears and shit like that.
Yep.
At the end of the day, I think, from our brand, we go headstrong. So.
Yep. Absolutely.
They need to hear that. They need to hear what other entrepreneurs are doing day to day, even if it's a plan. You know what I mean? If you got a plan, share it. Whatever fears you have, share it. But at the end of the day, be real about it. Because some of these people, to me, they're in their own way. And I'm not afraid to
be well enough to know that's my style.
Yeah, buddy. So right now it's setting up on Facebook Live. Give me 2 seconds while that goes. And then we'll just hang out.
Okay. We're not live yet, right?
No, we're not live yet.
Are you right now? I just so that I can also make sure that I'm engaging you in what it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
Are you still super focused on the construction side?
Yeah. So actually, and we can talk about that too. What we did is obviously we dominated the whole construction section of working with investors, right?
Yep.
And we became the nation's project managers, and then we became the #1 rehab consultants, and we're still that. So I'm still a consultant. I still consult some of our biggest friends, right? And then we built an app that just launched Friday. And that app is a project management app for real estate investors, wholesalers, and whatnot. So we've gone from construction to consulting to education to tech.
And so you're about creating process and structure around the construction side of things when somebody's rehabbing a home to resell it, and about becoming better because you're managing it better.
100%. So what we've done is we've taken all of the experience that we had and we put it into consulting, and then we teach investors how to set up construction, all the 3 phases of construction, project management. We run all those boot camps across the country. Teaching investors how to take control of the flip so that they're leveling the playing field, so their contractors are the one always winning.
Yeah.
And the reason why I created this is because I was always winning, and I was like, it's got to be the other way around. So with that, that's how that was born, and we've been doing that ever since. We're live, by the way, and we've been doing that ever since. And then in doing so, and traveling the country and working with some of these players and looking at some of their needs, where they're struggling and whatnot, that's when we decided, what? We need an app. We need some type of platform, software system, an SaaS software system, where not only our education's in that platform, but at the same time, the investors now have something to use, because everybody's on Trello and Slack and Asana and Podio. And every time I go in personally to consult our friends and stuff like that across the country, I'm looking at 5 different screens. I'm like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
I said, in construction, you think we're going to look at 5 different screens? Hell no, it's not going to happen. I said, so we're going to create one. And what we did is we created one that universally can eliminate Podio, it can eliminate Asana, it can eliminate Slack and Trello and all those things. And we put a big project management tool into one, completely surrounded by investments and rehabbing. So wholesalers can use it to log and track inventory. You could virtually wholesale, you could virtually rehab through it. More importantly, you can control your crews. So your crews have access to the system. They can see the Gantt charts and the scheduling and the contracts and the paperwork. And they can also log in and have live communication. So now everybody on the team, office to field, field to office, is all in the conversation. And it's role-based access control, so not everybody can see what needs to be seen if you want to have a private conversation or whatnot. But you can track invoices and money. draws, change orders, the issues that arise, pictures and uploads and live streaming. So it completely changed our business, because not only can the investors use it for their business and we create a special custom build out for them, we could actually live stream boot camps through it. I can do all kinds of facilitating through it. And then it hit us about 3 months ago that we're going to have little Roddy heads in there. And it's basically Ask Roddy. And those little Roddy heads will be for those investors who might not be as savvy or have new staff.
Yeah.
If you're creating a scope of work, click on that head, and a 30-second video pop up saying, okay, here's the things you need to focus on. So the project management tool project manages your entire portfolio, but it also teaches you the art of project management.
So here's what I love about that, and it's exactly what we did with our marketing hub. Exactly. Because what we have recognized by working with real estate investors all over the nation, and that is just, it's such a huge advantage for us to have worked with the level of people that we work with, because it's pattern recognition. Mm-hmm. Now we see the same thing over and over and over and over, and it allows us to create solutions for real estate investors that are real, that people don't think about. So what you've done with this, again, I'm going to parallel it to what I've done, and I'm so excited about it because I didn't realize that you had created this app, and I think it's a very cool thing. And
well, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you already, thinking private label.
I'm going to compel people to, because here's what pattern recognition allows us to do. It allows us to see that all of the things that you've done within that app are all solutions that existed, but they existed in a lot of different places. So, you know, I think sometimes people look at it and go, okay, there's that, and there's that, and there's that. What they don't realize is that us as entrepreneurs need everything nice and tidy in one place, because even if we have to go to 7 different places to solve a problem, each one of those problems are not difficult to solve. But our time is limited, our attention span is limited, let's face it. So what you've done is you've taken all of the things that everybody needs to be successful and put it into one place, and you cannot underestimate the power of that, because what makes us successful as entrepreneurs are easy buttons.
Tell them.
Access to things. None of it's hard, and that's why we convince ourselves that we can do all of the things, because none of those things are difficult. The problem is we can do anything, but we can't do everything. So when you create a solution where everything is all housed in one place, and it's convenient and it's fast and it's easy, it is a massive problem solve for people in a way that they don't even understand. It's a massive problem solve for people because they'll get it done when it's all tight, combined in one place. Now you're going to communicate the way that you should, because it's convenient. So we did the same thing with our marketing hub, because, you know, we're marketing, obviously. We're not doing anything revolutionary within the PI marketing hub. There's nothing revolutionary necessarily going on, but what we did is we took all of the components, list pulling and postcards and letters and skip tracing, all of the components from every kind of specialty list you can imagine. So you're not going to 7 different places to solve your problem. You're going to one place to solve your problem. And it sounds like what your app does for rehabbers. And my God, how many different pieces are there to manage when you're in a construction, you know, like when you're doing construction and when you're rehabbing? There's just an infinite amount of things to think about. And dude, we're too old for that. Like,
tell me about it. I'm getting old, man. By the way, I just decided to shave it for a different look. I'm coming out of quarantine, it's just a whole different monster. But, you know, I went into quarantine. So thank you for the kind words on the app. And I love the whole idea. I wrote it down about the pattern recognition. That's key, because I've got a partner in the app. I've never had a partner before. So after 15 years of being in the game, I finally have a partner that we've been working on the app with specifically for that side of the company. And we've been working on this for a year and a half, and now we're 6 months early, which was something we weren't prepared for. Ironically enough, COVID hit right when we were ready. I'm like, this could be good.
Yeah.
And because of COVID, we're actually customizing on the fly. However, it is a one-stop shop. It is a situation where investors have the ability now to go into a rehab with confidence, because not only is the system going to manage it with you and your team, but it's teaching you how to do it. The system is step by step. So indirectly, you're learning how to really focus on these things. And did you take your pictures? And, you know, when you did your site visits, are you doing rolling punch lists and all these things that need to happen that get them in trouble financially? Because time and money are tied together in our game, you know that. Absolutely. So the reality is we got to keep a level playing field. And I've always told investors this flat out. And actually, I remember I looked at, the first time I ever met Corey Boatwright, I looked him dead in his eye. I said, I used to tell guys like you that the moment I met you and I was going to walk your property, I own you. I said, I would look you dead in the eye and say, I own you, because you don't know what I know. It's over. I'm going to get a bigger return than you will. That's wrong. That's wrong. It's ass backwards. That's why we said we got to level the playing field. You guys have to understand that there's 3 pillars to this game, right? There's real estate, investing, and construction. If you rehab, right? If you choose to alter the asset, then you're in construction now. Everybody learns 1, not 3. And you have to learn all 3. I'm sorry. You have to learn all 3 to some level and continue to evolve in that. And I think now, the whole world's been seeing for the last 10, 12 years that rehabbing is the way to go. And part of the pieces of real estate investing that everybody wants the shiny shit. Everybody's watching TV and looking at fake news. And now they're like, this isn't as easy as I thought it was. It's like, of course not. It's a business. You have to operate that.
And I think your timing is perfect because everybody has been saying in a down market, and I don't think anybody could have predicted, obviously, that this would have been massively accelerated by this virus, right? But I mean, that's essentially what it did. We've all been talking about it. We've all known that the market was going to turn down. And in those moments, you have to go back to rehabbing to some degree. There's not as much of the transactional, and we're seeing this now. There's not as much transactional opportunity. And a lot of the money that's going to be made is going to be made, in my opinion, when you see these kind of down markets. You see now you're kind of like the better play is to sell to people who want the home to be done and done well and nicely. You always see a return to rehabbing. I think wholesaling had its day and it's never going to go away, right? But I do think that rehabbing, not just from the standpoint of are you going to flip it, but I mean, you see more and more and more investors buying and holding. And there's just as much opportunity to lose money if you don't manage turnover well on your buy and holds as there are when you're flipping. I mean, I think that having a process and a structure in place for that is just as important.
Well, without question. So I mean, it gives confidence back to the investors, right? Most investors who have rehabbed a house will tell you the negative experience first, and that's unfortunate, but it's a fact. And nowadays, you'll talk to a contractor and he'll see an investor coming. He'll think the same shit, like, I'm not dealing with this guy. I got burned the last time. And if you dissect the issue, it's really just a lack of understanding and a lack of education on both parts. That's it. You're on 2 sides of the fence, but you're not working together. You're supposed to be working together. You should be on the same side of the fence in 2 different industries, if you will, but you're really in the same niche. And it's a fundamental understanding that's overlooked. So we've done our best over the years to bridge that gap, make a name in terms of that is help now available if you need it. And we continue to do so. And now with the app, it's just a whole different ballgame of accessibility, the deliverables through it, and things of that nature. So I think what's going to happen, to your point, I think there's going to be a lot of wholesalers that will continue to wholesale. There's going to be much more to offer in terms of virtual reality. A lot of virtual wholesaling will probably happen more than it ever has before. Virtual rehabbing is a very big possibility. We created a model literally 3 weeks ago that takes off after the offer is made virtually, and then you can make a decision, are you going to rehab it, and how to get the agent to double dip and be the boots on the ground and train them through us. So we created a whole model for that if necessary. And that's just us adapting to what's going to happen, and that's going to happen. So being ahead of the curve is all about being an entrepreneur, right? I had a post yesterday that said exactly that is, you're always a real entrepreneur is somebody that can see the shit before it comes and prepare for it and put something out there that's ready for it. And that's something that we did a year and a half ago. I could never have imagined it would happen during COVID. Who the hell would have thought anything like that? Nobody. But that's part of being an entrepreneur. However, experience from before, because we've all been in the game so long, teaches you to practice that. Practice financially to be ready. Practice his financial reserves. Practice the ability to save money, to move money, and then obviously plan. Things happen, markets change, and we're in real estate. It's always evolving and changing, and you're doing this. And some people aren't changing out their wheels or the brakes.
Yeah, for sure.
So tell everybody
what do you see as the biggest...
everybody what you do, though. It's not about me. This is about you. You came firing up.
I love talking about it, though. I love talking about it.
You, man. It's not about me. People know my shit.
So my company, I have 2 companies. My company that most people know us by is Postal Impact. So Postal Impact is a marketing company. We do marketing. We do completely done-for-you marketing for some of the biggest real estate investors in the nation, and we do this for investors all over the nation. What makes us really unique is that we are data and analytic driven. So everything that we do, from pulling the list, we are using data analytics to pull the list. And then what we do that I don't know that anybody else does is when we're executing that completely done for you model for our clients, because we do everything. We mail it, we scrub the list, we manage the list, we refresh the leads, all of the above. But what we do that's really unique is that we track the data all the way through the sales pipeline. So it's not just about what is the response rate for each lead type, because we're very specialty lead driven. It's response rate and then net lead rate. And then most importantly, it's on the conversion. We track the data on the conversion side. So how are you booking your appointments based on specific lead types? What are you really good at converting? Are you good at converting at all? Because I'm going to tell you one of the biggest things that happen, and the reason why we got into data to begin with, is because we got really tired of people saying your leads suck. And we didn't know. We thought, well, maybe they do suck. Let's go see what's going on, right?
That's probably part of a learning curve too.
Is that while the list is important, what's more important is your ability to convert that list. There's not this magic lead list out there that's going to make you this amazing person, or that's going to make your business amazing. You have to be really good at converting that lead, and studying data allows us to determine where the breaks are in people's businesses. So if their booking rate is low, when we compare them to everyone else, again, it's that pattern recognition, right? So now that I've seen this over and over, someone could describe their business or let me look at their numbers, and in 5 minutes, I can probably tell you where your breaks are. Here's where your break is. Here's where you're missing the most opportunity in your business, etc. Now, what we are doing now, and very similar to you, it's just so funny because the launch of the PI Marketing Hub. So we have Postal Impact. We have the Postal Impact Marketing Hub. The website is PI Marketing Hub, but you can get there from the Postal Impact website as well. Okay. That is a place where any investor can go and tap into our knowledge and experience in the industry and pull their own lead lists and mail their own, because our completely done for you service is not for everyone. I mean, our minimum spend is 10 grand a month, and our average client probably spends more like $25,000 to $35,000 a month with us to have us do all of their campaigns. But through the Marketing Hub, you can go. We teach you, how to pull the list. We give you insight and data, and kind of instruction. You can pull the list. You can mail postcards. You can mail letters. You can, skip trace. You can pull just about any kind of specialty lead that you can imagine. You can get it from that website, and it's just all in one. It's a one-stop shop. Again, we're not doing anything outrageously amazing, sure, aside from the fact that we're making it super convenient for you to come to one place, and we are giving you insight that I don't believe anybody else can give you about what's trending, like what's the hot lead right now, what's doing really well. Now, the other company that I had said that we have is Virtual Lead Managers. We did not expect that to do well through this period of time, but that company has done massively well. Virtual Lead Managers are VAs that we pre-screen and pre-train to run follow-up on the leads in your system. Because again, we recognized after working with real estate investors for years, we kept saying to them, hey, you've got to follow up on these leads. You've got to do better. 60 to 70% of your deals should be coming in follow-up. But everybody's so busy taking the low-hanging fruit and going for the immediate kill that they're leaving everything else, aside. And we got so tired of telling them, and they would go, I know. It's like those postcards that are sit in the corner of your office that you tell yourself you're going to scrub out of your return mail, and you never do it, right? So if you're an entrepreneur and you keep saying, I'm going to do it. If you've said that for 3 months or more, just accept the fact that that's not in your wheelhouse and outsource it. Get somebody else to do it. So these lead managers are trained to, they have their scripts. They know exactly how to go into somebody's business and go to their old leads and revive old leads. They're trained to market from the Marketing Hub so they can become a marketing director for people. And essentially what we're doing is just trying to take, a fixed cost and make it a variable cost and make it as easy as possible to drop someone into your business. Now you're not trying to figure out how to train them. You're not trying to figure out the tasks that you're going to give them. We already know because you're just like everybody else. So, they kind of come to you ready to go to some extent. Still, you're hire. You've got to do what you got to do, but for the most part, again, we're training people to do the tasks that we have seen over and over and over and over and over and over in people's businesses that we know need to be done in your business.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the ability to kind of like, help them navigate that.
That's insane. So,
yeah.
So many questions off that. So many questions. So, okay, now let's just say the last 2 months. What adjustments are you making now? Because you're forced to make adjustments, if any.
Yeah.
And you mentioned, and I love the fact that you said entrepreneur, because I talk entrepreneur all day long. It's not about anything that we're doing. It's all about entrepreneurship. So I love that you keep saying that, because those that are watching at the core of it, whether you're an investor or an agent or whatever the hell you are, you're an entrepreneur. So you got to act like one, have a plan. So what are you doing right now in the last 2 months because of the trends that you're able to watch on a consistent basis? What are you doing to navigate this? Because you must be forecasting on your end. You have to be forecasting how your virtual lead manager is going to be working, positive and negative. What does that look like?
100%. So it's funny because we actually let off the gas on the virtual lead manager side, because we said, this is not a time that anybody is going to be hiring anybody, because this is a hire. It's a full-time.
You thought. Right?
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So we stopped. We were like, no, we didn't stop the business. We just stopped pushing it, because we were like, you know what? I absolutely, and when I'm asked to speak and people say, what's the most valuable lead right now? I say the most valuable lead is the lead that's already in your business. You need to go back to every single old lead that you have from the past year, because those people have a level of motivation today that they didn't have a year ago. So you need to be going back, and you need to be making sure that you reach out to all of those old leads. That's the most valuable lead right now in your business. So that's what we thought. What is hilarious is that is a component of our business that has absolutely just exploded on its own without us trying. Number one, because there have been, we're now starting to work in other verticals other than real estate, because if you're an entrepreneur, the lead is the lifeblood of your business, and you recognize that. But I guess I wasn't thinking about the fact that now people are going to be thinking about this, the ability to have a virtual assistant that doesn't come with all of the strings that a US based employee comes with. Right. Mm-hmm. So it is just, there's been a massive amount of interest that has been generated over that particular business. And we're keeping up, but it's
good.
And well, we've done nothing. We've done nothing to advertise. We have people coming from I just talked to somebody in Dallas, a construction company in Dallas, that was saying, we're going on all these estimates. We never follow up with our leads. We don't have any system for following up. We're doing 5 estimates a day. Each one of my employees are doing 5 estimates a day, and we only take down about 20% of them, and we don't follow up with people at all. Not at all. Like the salespeople are supposed to be following up, but they don't. And I said, that's because salespeople aren't supposed to be following up. They're supposed to be going out and killing crap. They're not supposed to be you're never going to get them to look at 100 leads that they don't see any value in and pick up the phone and try to close those deals. That's
a different type of sales anyway. Seriously, a VA could do that all day long.
Well, and that's what they do. And here's the thing: they're not salespeople. So all they're doing is they're picking through all the weeds. Mm-hmm. They're picking through it. And when they get a homeowner or a lead or whatever in whatever industry, because we're looking at pharmaceutical, all of the above. Once they get somebody who says, "Yeah, I would like to talk to somebody," now you hand that back to your salespeople, so they can go kill it. That's when you hand it back. You don't hand your salespeople 100 things that don't seem like they have value and ask them to sit there and pick the phone up. They're going to hate their lives. You're going to burn them out. And we see that all the time, right? So that has been interesting. So we thought we were going to have to anticipate that. And as it turns out, lots of people see the value in that right now. I think because it's virtual, it's a variable, expense, mm-hmm. and they're also starting to really value their leads. So they're saying, let me take better care of these leads. On the marketing side, that has also been interesting. We weren't sure. I was biting my nails. I'm not going to lie, coming into the pandemic, because we were like, man.
Yeah, I remember your post with all those wine bottles.
Yeah.
Your garbage can was full of liquor bottles, and I think I commented well, here's my stash. I had a shelf, just shelves of wine.
Dude, I think I've drunk my body weight in Tito's every night. Not like since the pandemic, like every single night.
I think everybody's tolerance has gone up a little bit. Let's be a reality. I mean, you better be working out. That's the key. So I got the Peloton. Whatever I do the night before, I'm like, oh, I'm going to be on this bike for a lot longer than I want.
Right. And listen, I've decided I'm not stressed. I'm not. It's just fun.
It's fun, and sometimes it's passing time.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm home more than I've ever been home, so I've got to pass time.
I'm not drinking because I'm stressed. I'm just drinking because I'm like, all right, it's about that time. So
continue, please. I didn't mean to
on the marketing side, we weren't sure what was going to happen, but what I love about the data and the fact that we've got this base of data is it has required of us to think more, because what I have been saying about marketing, whether it's to my clients or to the masses, is if you're going to choose to market through the pandemic, and so many people have, which was great for us, because I was biting my nails, I'm not going to lie. I didn't know if everybody was going to just pause or stop and I've got a whole staff of people. So what I have been saying is get lean, identify which lists were working really well for you. Don't stop. The biggest fear for me is that people stop, and lots and lots and lots of people have. In fact, nailing down, like I've been talking to a couple of the mail houses. Marketing in general is down like 65 to 75% across all industries, but even more so to some degree on the real estate space. And I think it's ideal actually right now to market, because number one, you're dealing with a whole lot less competition than you were before. Number two, you have a captive audience. You've got people who are trained that mail is not super dangerous, so they're liking getting mail. Our response rates and net lead rates are up.
Good.
I am saying pull back, especially if you're not 100%, sure how you're going to exit those deals, or funding and things like that. So get really super targeted. Like go to your go-to leads, go to your specialty leads. We have a lead that we created, and a couple of leads, I should say, that we created just for this moment in time. And there's no reason why those of you who are listening out there can't do the same thing. We sat down and said, okay, who should we target? So we have a high-risk landlord lead and a high-risk homeowner lead, where we're taking the normal filters that you would use to filter leads, like equity and beds and baths and max values and things like that. But we're saying, who needs our help in this moment? Landlords that are high risk, and the way that we identify that is we layer financial distress on top of the lead. We said, what are the occupations? What are the occupations that are going to be most impacted by Corona? And can we layer occupations? Can we target homeowners who are in hard-hit occupations? Can we target landlords who are in hard-hit occupations?
I would imagine a lot of millennials fall into that category.
Well, and I'm so glad that you said that. The data has shown prior to the pandemic that your ideal homeowner is going to be generally over the age of 50, probably even over the age of 55. So somebody who is older, right? So fine, use that data and do that list. But when something massive like this happens, everything changes. So you have to pay attention, and you can't just keep going back to what you did before. Sit down in a dark room. I tell people that all the time. Sit down in a dark room for 30 minutes and say, who needs my help right now? Like, who should I be targeting? If you do that, you're going to answer the question. Like, I know before it was working for me to only target people over the age of 60 or 65, but that's probably the least impacted from a housing standpoint in this environment. I think the valuable lead type is the age is going to start to shift. I don't know this yet. We don't have enough data, but we're studying massive amounts of data, and I can almost guarantee you that the age that you're going to target is going to start to shift downward, because it's the younger guys, maybe even people who have recently bought a home, that are going to be really impacted and need to sell a house to tap into the equity to get through the next 6 months. I mean, because
I couldn't agree more. I was reading and researching myself, because we have to, right? That's what we do. And I agree 100%. That's why I brought up the millennial thing, because at the end of the day, the millennials are the ones that are renters, right? So they're going to shift the market for a number of years to come anyway, because they're naturally renters. They want to travel and spend money and go do these things, but they also have jobs that aren't as secured as the 50-year-old who worked 30 years prior and has that pension and locked in and all those things. They don't have that. That's gone. So
Yep.
you start thinking about who do you market to for services? Well, think about it. Every recession, there's a new crop of freshmen that come back into the investment game or into business in general, right? Some of the biggest businesses were built back in '08 during that recession. Some of the biggest names that we use now happened in '08, right? I'm betting right now my REIPM is going to be a massive multi-million-dollar hit because of this right now, 10 years from now. You know, I know it's going to happen. So for me, I'm looking at it that way. But at the same time, what can you do now? Like a lot of these investors, they have all these programs, right? They teach wholesaling or investing, whatever the hell it is, notes. And my thought here is you might want to start tapping into the millennial base now, because if they don't have a job and you can afford to give them some monthly plan, $50 for this, $79 for this webinar, whatever it is, guess who's going to bite on that? The ones who want that sexy life, the one that see the bling bling and all that cars are like, I want that life. Well, you know what? Getting real estate investing, you can make it happen, right? That's the whole idea. I would think that retargeting now hot and heavy to those millennials, I think that's going to be a big hit because 2, 3, 4 years from now, they're going to be the new crop of investors coming into the game after they've learned a little bit. And
Yeah.
it's not going to be your 45 and ups. I'll tell you that right now. It's not, because we've been working with them already.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
When I came into the game in my 20s, I was working with people that were 40 and up. I had to prove to them that this young guy can help them. Now I'm almost 40. I've got to make sure I can help the old guys, no problem. But now I got to go down to the millennials and say, hey, I'm still kind of cool though. Like I'm still relevant. Work with, you know? So I got to keep this swag and that hip shit going so that I can be like, look, you're 26.
What you're telling me is that this is really all an act.
This is all in that. No, this is who I am, man.
I don't believe you for 1 second. I don't believe you for 1 second. Nope.
I've had earrings since 15, baby. So the reality is, it is strategy. Marketing takes that time. I like the idea of sitting in a dark room and just trying to think, but the reality is.
Well, and to that point, everybody says, every massively successful business owner who's been around through down markets says, you make your most money in a down market. And the reason why I said get alone in a room, I think the people who are going to be very successful coming out of this, and I think there is massive opportunity that will come out of this. I don't think anybody disagrees with that. You have to be able to make it through. You know, you got to be able to survive and to see where that massive opportunity is. But I think it's going to be creativity and innovation that's going to take
all day. 2 words.
I think that this moment is calling for us to do things like think differently. Like, how do I filter a lead differently if I'm marketing? How do I market differently? What's different? Like, how do I innovate? How do I create?
Let's go that route. Marketing and innovation. Everybody's online right now. Everybody's at home. The majority of people are at home, or they have more time to mess around on their phone, right? How do you capture them for that 5 seconds? How do you capture them for that 10 seconds where they stop scrolling and click on your shit, look at it a little bit and go, that's interesting. That just made it 10 times harder than it was 2 months ago.
Yes.
You know, so now you got to get strategic.
Right.
Then you got to study the times that people are on their phones the most. So you got to study those metrics. Like, you know, when I was doing podcasts and interviews and things like that, I would do them on Wednesdays and Thursdays at 1 p.m. Central, because that's when the whole country's awake and most people are on lunch break every time, and they have time. If they can't watch it in their office, they can watch it in their car. Mm-hmm. So you study all these things, and then sometimes you have that aha moment, like, that does make sense. Duh. You know?
Yes.
But now it's like there is no specific real time anymore, in my opinion, because everybody's on. So I'm trying to study. Do you have that answer? When's a good time to really play with your marketing now?
And so, okay, so that's digital, and we don't get much into the digital space, but you're going in the exact right direction, because we do that. Like with virtual lead managers, one of the things that make that a really successful thing is that because we have 100 people doing the exact same thing, we can look at it and go, and I just saw a memo, I don't know, not that long ago, I saw a memo. I didn't even know my team was doing this, but there was a memo that went out to all of our virtual lead managers that basically said, hey, we see an increase in connectivity because these guys will outbound call leads, you know, to try to warm them back up. We see an increase in connectivity on Thursdays between the hours of 5 and 6. So go and call all of the leads on Thursdays between the hours of 5 and 6. So for those of you who are running businesses, like studying data and just deciding on what is a valuable KPI to measure, measuring it, and then scaling to be better before you scale to be bigger is critical. That's how you do it. The only way that you can do that is to know thyself. right? You have to be able to not just have a gut feel. And most entrepreneurs run our businesses based on gut feel and not on actual data and numbers. It is
True.
so massively important that you know it, because especially in this time, we're all emotional. Every one of us is more emotional than we've ever been. So it couldn't be more dangerous right now to make massive decisions about your business. You have to actually know yourself and know what's going on in your business, because I can't tell you how many times we have prevented someone from stopping something or starting something once we were able to hand them the actual numbers and say, I know that you think this isn't working, but the truth of the matter is you just in your head, because the last 2 days have sucked.
Yes.
So, you know, we do that all the time. You're like, man, that sucks. I don't even want to do this anymore.
That leads to being impatient. And when you're impatient, you make the wrong decisions. I'm guilty of that. So I've got a brand manager. Her name is Millie. She's on one of these cameras watching, I'm sure. But she's always positioning me. And there's oftentimes she's like, you can't say that. I'm like, I'll say whatever I want. She's like, you can't say that. And if I say it and I look it up online, it's reworded. I'm like, you touched my shit. You know, but that's what it is she, you know, it's positioning and understanding the time. And
you know you're bad when you have to have an editor. Like,
yes,
when you're like,
it's all here for me though.
I'm pretty sure I did not say that.
It's all here for me though. It's all impatience. I'm like, I want to put something out because I love content. I'm a content freak. But
yeah.
I got to put something out. And I don't care if anybody hates me. That's the whole idea. That means it's too much. Keep going. And she's like, that's fine. But time. There's a time for it. And we got to do this. And I need you to do that. And I'm like, God, I'm impatient. Let's just rock this thing.
Yeah.
But
And I think there's something to be said for that, because as much as I like strategy and as much as I think that you should perfect before you disrupt again, I think that absolutely you can, you know, get yourself into a place. I just had a call yesterday where I was talking about this, where, you know, you just paralyze yourself into inaction because you keep trying to perfect everything. Joe McCall says, and I love it, he said it years and years ago, and it has stood the test of time: done is the new perfect. Like, just
leave it.
At some point, you got to just step out. You got to just pull the trigger.
That's hard for alphas.
I don't like talking about this Corona thing, but I will say this: whether you agreed with the decision to quarantine or not, once the decision got made, this is my opinion, I'm not trying to have an argument about it because I literally hate talking about this, and I've told people, I don't want to get into this. I don't know anything. Nobody knows anything. It's all a guess. So
Christina's going to start a fight. She's going to start a fight on live Facebook.
Stop getting worked up about it. But I will say this, just because I think there's a correlation. Once they made the decision to quarantine or lock down, I personally think if you're going to do it, I don't necessarily agree that they should have, but once you made the decision, just freaking do it. Yeah. Stop with this half-ass stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like some people are doing it and some people aren't, and some people are taking it seriously and some people aren't. And like, the world will never know. Like, honestly, I really honestly think we'll never really know. But in your own business, I think sometimes we do that too, where we'll be like, oh, okay, quarantine. But then, oh, but I don't want to tick somebody off. And what if I made the wrong decision? And once you make a decision, just own it and make it work. Just own it. And by own it, I mean to either shut it down or keep going. But stop wallowing around in, I wonder if I made the right decision. I don't know. Just be definitive. Be definitive about what you do. Like,
I get it. I think people are learning that right now. The ones that didn't set up, the ones that have been flying by the seat of their pants, have no pants anymore.
Yeah.
And I've been saying that for a long time. And I've always said that because that's how I was mentored, was you better have a plan B and C always. So when this was happening, which kind of happened out of nowhere, like one day you're quarantined, you're like, wow, we're actually in lockdown kind of thing. You're like, all right, well, And you start thinking, you're like, well, my business is actually positioned to be virtual. So let's make that happen over the next couple of weeks. And now I had time to go through my goals. So I have in my office upstairs, I got this massive whiteboard and the whole wall I could write on, and I have my goals. And I started going through what I can and cannot do right now, what I can control, what I can't control.
Yes.
And I came out to a point where I can control this. I've always wanted to get this up and running, just a live video cast. I don't want it to be a podcast. I don't want it to be like on iTunes. I just want to be able to talk to the people I want to talk to, that I want to talk shop with, so that other people get inspired by. And now I have time to do that.
Yes.
Right? So I'm like, all right, that works. And what do you do with it? You can market through it. You can reach people through it. You stay relevant through it. You're in front of the lines through it. You're still putting out content through it. and you're still staying relevant, you know, and that's a fact. And if people think that, you know, what we're doing is a ploy or a game, get with marketing. That's what this is all about, right? I'm very transparent. This is what this is all about, right? I'm staying in the front of my industry in terms of rehabbing because I found another platform. Sorry that you couldn't figure that out. That's the idea, though, that you and I are suggesting is, if you're a real entrepreneur and you're working all those angles, you're preparing all those angles for the what ifs. This is a different what if, but my point is the plan should still stay the same. You just adjust maybe the door you open, right?
Yeah.
If I wanted to hit 1, 2, and 3, figure out a way to do 1, 2, and 3 right now.
Yes.
Back to maybe the old way, but more importantly, you might have learned something new.
I also love what you're saying, because I think that too. Like, there's so much happening right now that we have no control over. So stop worrying about it and focus on what you do have control over, because success breeds success.
Oh, yeah.
So one of the things that I've actually even been encouraging my own community and tribe to do is, guess what? If you knew and you've been saying forever that you want to get your health in check, use this time to freaking do that. Like, there's never been a better moment. You can't go out to eat and have all of that upend what you do. And more importantly, once you start to gain control over, because massively successful people are successful in all of the areas of their life. You can't be massively successful here and failing here. You can be successful. I'm not saying you can't be successful. There's 1,000 examples of that, right? But massively successful people understand that mediocrity breeds mediocrity, and success breeds success. So if you're living in a moment where there are circumstances that you can't control, and I don't care what that is, some of you can't control a health moment. Some of you can't control your finances right now. Some of you can't control the fact that we're in lockdown. Wherever it is that you lack control, go create control and success where you absolutely have it. And I don't know how or why this happens, but once you start to do that, success breeds success, and everything starts to fall into place. It's momentum. It's like direct mail, you know what I mean? Do the same thing over and over and over consistently, and it's like a snowball. That's how life works. I don't care if it's your personal or your business life, and there's a lot of bleed over on that too.
I think a lot of people are scared to ask for help. I do.
Why is that?
I think a lot of people are scared to ask for help because it shows weakness, whatever that is, that's their personal.
But why is it bad to show weakness? Because we all know we have it. Why?
That's what we're asking you guys.
Like, why don't women want to say, yes, I have had Botox injected in my forehead for 10 years. That's why my forehead, well, actually, my forehead doesn't look great right now. I'm quarantined. I'm locked down.
Yes.
But why? Like, why? Like, if you like the way that it looks, like, why wouldn't you? Like, I don't understand. I really don't. I don't understand this whole thing. What is it, Ryan? Why don't people want to just be like, yeah, man, I'm sucking at this right now, and tap into the resources that you have in front of you? Because if you're having surface level conversations with really cool people, you're missing a massive opportunity to get brilliant minds and brains in what you actually need it in, which is a problem, which if you won't admit that there's a problem, then you're going to just miss the opportunity. Why is it so hard? I think
that's it's a personal insecurity. I think at the end of the day, I'm not knocking anybody, you know, at the end of the day, your problems are your problems. But the reality is what it is if you're weak then, you know, if you're weak yesterday, you're probably going to be weak today. You got to get out of that funk. You got to change the way you think. You got to change this muscle. And I had this with Billy Alvaro not too long ago, a couple of weeks back, and we were talking the same shit about just having that mental muscle, and a lot of people don't have that. So that's when I can't do it comes out, the fear comes out, the anxiety comes out, the I can't control anything comes out. And like you said, of course you can. You can control the immediate things that are around you right now: health, your family. And if you think about one of the biggest triggers to making you feel good mentally is working out. Right? Burning your body out. So you're like, oh man, I feel like jello, but you feel so good. You have that weird freshness in your lungs. Your ankles might be a little achy. Your back's a little achy. And you're like, I just tore my ass up. I feel good about this.
Yeah.
That changes your psyche because you're like, oh, I feel good about this morning's workout. That was hard. Then you're like ready to take on the world. I think a lot of people should be taking advantage of the time as well to do what you said earlier, which is the black room, right? Just in a dark space, think quietly. It's almost like meditation. I've had more time in 6, 7, 8 weeks than I have had for myself in 15 years, 16 years in this business. where I can actually sit there and just sit there and have coffee in the morning and think and go, wow, I got some good ideas. Now let me think about how I can execute them. Where I'm not flying everywhere doing all these things, delegating, and I'm like, I got an idea. I make this awesome list of ideas that I barely get to.
And we get so used to flying by the seat of our pants that we forget how powerful it is to give ourselves a moment to ask ourselves the questions that need to be asked. And here's the awesome thing about entrepreneurs. We're smart enough. If you will ask the question instead of just kind of half thinking through it while you're doing other things, you'll come up with the answer. You'll answer there are very few questions that each of us can't answer if we will give ourselves the opportunity to do that. But ask yourself the question, figure it out, solve the problem. You'll come out of that 30 minutes in a dark room, I promise. And I've been saying it for years. Get by yourself in a dark room and just even if it's first, record your thoughts and then give yourself permission to think them through. Use this moment to actually think through all of those things that and like for me, I have like ideas completely outside of the real estate space, and real estate is my world and marketing is my world, but I have totally different ideas that I really just don't give myself the time to think it through. And if you will, two things are going to happen. You're either going to create something that's amazing, or you're going to finally put to bed something that has been taking up brain space in the back of your mind for years. And you're just going to go, no, I'm not going to do that anymore, because that stuff is actually poison. Like that stuff that nags at the back of your mind forever and ever, just let it go. Like, am I going to file that lawsuit? No, you know what? I'm just making a decision right now that I am just going to let it go. I am not chasing that.
I think that's the key takeaway. That was your key takeaway of this entire conversation. You've had a ton. I've been writing them down a ton. But I want you guys to remember that one. Two things are going to happen. She just hit them on the head. You're going to either create something magical, something great, right? Because that's when things happen at times like these. Or you're going to relieve stress and open space in your brain that's otherwise taking up creative space for something actually beneficial, magical, and awesome. I love that. Because that's exactly what it is. Get it out in the open. Maybe it was a good idea, maybe it wasn't, but at least it's gone. Get on to the next one.
Yeah. And I think it's really important.
Now, I think a lot of people struggle with that anyway, because people keep things in the back of their minds. Or maybe it's even very cerebral. Who knows? I'm a very alpha. Okay, what I say is out of my mind. I say it. Sometimes I say it so damn fast. That's why Millie's always like, "You can't say that," and I'm like, "Okay, then fix it." But the reality is, I say it because it's probably truthful, and it might hurt people's feelings. But I'm okay with that because that's just how I was raised. It's not that I want to be mean. I was raised that way, and it got me far. To be honest with you.
Same here. Like I'm a straight shooter.
Just do it, right? I mean, I'd rather. Oh man, if I'm totally messing up, I want to hear that, so I don't keep messing up. I don't have time for that. Like if you guys,
don't sandwich that, because if you sell me something good and then bad and good, I'm gonna focus on the good. So if you need to hear some bad feedback, just hit me between the eyes, please.
That's exactly it. And I think a lot of people now that are sitting at home, especially the entrepreneurs, they're battling within themselves on that kind of a little bit, where they're like, oh man, maybe I made mistakes. In my opinion, don't dwell on what was done. Start planning for what's going to be, because this is the time to start learning. Okay, so you got hit in the face, fine. Now, why did you get in the face? Don't do that again. Plan not to let that ever happen again, and keep taking it a step further. Fix the problem, then take it a step further so it's actually gone. It's not a Band-Aid, it's fixed. And that's, I think, what's happening. People don't want to deal with that. I think people are like, oh my God, I made 30 mistakes. Well, you did then. All right. Don't ever do those again. What are you going to do?
One of our company mottos is, what's done is done. Be better now. Every single moment of your life is an opportunity to make a better choice in every area of your life. So if you are dieting and you took a bite of the donut, okay, what's done is done. You have an opportunity in the very next moment to say no more. No more. Let's go drink some water or whatever. But if you never do that, and if you don't cut it off and forgive yourself and let it go and move on and be better in the very next moment, you yell at your wife, you yell at your kids, you do stupid stuff, you made a bad business decision. There's nothing you can do about it. Be better right now. Just say, okay, right now, in this very next second, I'm going to demand better of myself. What is the better decision I can make right in this moment?
Gotcha. Let's go with that. What right now can you offer the investors right now? Christina Krause, any one of your companies, what do you recommend they do, and how can you get them there?
Okay, so what we are actually doing in this moment from the PI Marketing Hub is we made a decision as a company, and actually I sweated it out for a little bit, but we made a decision as a company that it was more important for us that we just get through and that investors get through so that we can realize the opportunity on the other side of this. So right now what we are doing through the end of May is everything on the PI Marketing Hub is either being done at cost, like we are not making a profit on it.
Sure.
So there are a lot of things that we've sold in the past that are being given away. There's trackers, there's training, there's books, there's even our services, the letter writing services at cost. Or what we are also doing for some of the things that don't really have a lot of margin is I'm actually giving anybody who comes through our marketing hub, my marketing team experts, the ones that normally service, you know, people who are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a month on their marketing. I'm giving you access to them if you want them to help you pull leads and to help guide you through how to think about pulling leads and setting things up. Because that is very overwhelming to a lot of, especially newer investors. Like, I know I need to do postcards, but who do I contact and how do I set the template up and what template should I be using? And There's 1,000 questions. So that's what we're doing in this moment, and that's what that's what we're choosing to do. Okay. From that standpoint, and then also from the lead generating standpoint, we have like our data guys hard at work studying. We in this moment, we came out, like I said, with the high risk landlord lead and the high risk homeowner lead. We're sitting in the dark room and going, how do we take what we know about the industry and how do we use our brains to go, who should we be targeting right now? Like who should be being targeted? And then again, what I think that other people should be doing right now, for sure, if you have the money, I don't think you should be spending money on marketing if you're worried about how you're going to pay your bills in 15 days. That's a completely separate conversation, and there are things that you can be doing. I've actually been talking a lot about it, but I do think if you have the ability, you should be marketing, because if you completely shut down, everybody knows, I don't care what form of marketing, whether it's direct mail or anything, it takes moment. You have to do it. There's normally a 3-month curve, you know, and it takes a momentum build. If you stop entirely and you wait another 2 months, by the time you get to the table and your momentum gets built, by the time you get to the table, the people who are marketing right now and using this time to build their momentum are going to have cleaned your plate, and you're going to be eating leftovers. I mean, that's
exactly it. You got a lot to catch up to.
You can't stop. Another thing that I know this is controversial, and everybody has to make their own decisions.
Oh, I want to hear it.
It's why I don't like, because there's a lot of people doing this right now. They're allowing their people to, because they're in a little bit of a pause in their businesses, and with PPP and all that stuff, some people are allowing their people to kind of take a break a little, like, you know, and just coast a little.
Break as in what?
As in like workload.
Time off kind of stuff? Or actually non-constructive productivity?
Non-constructive productivity, okay? And here's what I don't like about that. Like, I think that it is massively dangerous to allow ourselves, it's just like in this moment, I do think this is a great time for you to spend time with family and whatnot. But as entrepreneurs, I think the worst thing that you could do, even if it's just like you've got your your strategy is to just sit back and wait. I understand that, okay? But what I am saying is that I think it's dangerous for you to sit around and drink all day and watch Netflix. Because,
yes, it is. I keep telling people. Oh, I love it.
Like, even if you're going to do something different, do something that's feeding you and juicing you and making you think. And even if it's just sitting down and saying, how am I going to innovate? What am I going to create out of this? What's the new marketing? How am I going to change my message? What am I going to say? How do I get better at sales so that when my sales come back, I'm ready to hit the ground running? Because I do think it's dangerous for anybody to fall out of like the person that they want themselves to be and then have to ramp back up. You know, it's like going on vacation for too long, where now whereas before we loved work, now I don't even want to go back to work. That's kind of scary to me. Like, that's why I don't, even with my own team, yes, our volume is down, so they have extra time. Guess what we're doing? We're going, okay, guys, let's have meetings. Let's have let's have little offshoots shoots of these. I want you guys to be thinking about this. What process have we been manually doing that we can create an automation for? Like, there are things you can be working on to make yourself better right now. Focus on your health, but don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. It's poison. It's poison.
In business, when this transition always happens, which happens every 10 years, this is different, but there's always a recession, right? And we're going to have more after this. It's just the way it works in our lifetime. The idea is, again, if you have your goals always set up annually and you can't get to certain goals, it happens. But sometimes those goals indirectly save your ass when you have to adjust and you're like, what were my goals again? But if you actually have them and you're looking at them every single damn day and you're working towards those goals, you'll always have work. You'll always have the ability to earn. I'm not knocking the ones that got laid off, the 9-to-5ers. I'm not knocking that. That's their life. The world needs chiefs and Indians. It's the balance. But for the Chiefs should, for the most part, know how to adjust, right? Everybody's using this word pivot. I hate that fucking word. It's a terrible word. They should just be adjusting and navigating. But you have these Indians that do need to be a supporting cast, and they need to depend on those Chiefs. And that's where there's a balance. And that's how I look at business. So for you saying you want your teams to continue working, I totally agree with that. But it's on us to provide that availability. We have to be able to provide that opportunity, because some people, it's not just collecting a paycheck. They believe in your dream. They believe in our dream. They believe in what we're building. They believe in that stuff because it gives them something to live for as well, outside of home, outside of family. And I think as entrepreneurs, sometimes we miss that. And I have a lot of friends in the restaurant business that are hurting. And I have a lot of friends that they're in multiple businesses that are hurting badly right now. And I, knock on wood, I feel very bad for them. I talk to them all the time. But what they did is what anybody has to do. They went back into their business. So if they own the restaurant and they were the chef, guess who's cooking again? They are. Guess who's setting up all the meals and menus? They are again. And you know what? There's a lesson in that.
Sometimes you got to hustle.
Humility in that. But you never forgot how you started. You go back to the basics, core competencies. And that's something I've been saying for weeks.
Listen, there are people who are who are unemployed right now and are not going, the chances are they're not going to be able to go back to their job. Yeah. What I'm saying is, don't wait this out just because you can, because the government is making it possible for you to sit and stew for a second. Take a day or two. I mean, come on. I'm not saying like, you got to grind, you got to grind, you got to grind. But even entrepreneurs, there are plenty of entrepreneurs that we're talking to right now that what you were doing is going to be disrupted to the point that, what if you can't, let's say you can't go back to that. That's fine. I'm telling you, real estate disappears. Tomorrow morning, Christina Krause still wakes up as an entrepreneur. And I'll go do whatever. Like, I don't care what industry it is. I'll learn it. I'll do it.
I love it.
So take it away from me. I don't care, because I'm going to get up. I'm going to take a second. I'm going to cry for 2 days. And
after a Tito's.
Extra Tito's for 2 days. And then I'm going to get up and I'm going to make it work all over.
Good. And you know what? Let's end it there. That was perfect, because that's the inspirational finish, and that was all natural. It wasn't even a setup. That was perfect. You're going to wake up tomorrow, and Christina's going to do what Christina does. And that's what everybody else needs to do right now, is you're going to wake up tomorrow. Don't go sit and get comfortable and watch TV. Get a workout in and start planning. Start reading. Start learning. Leverage. One of the biggest things I've ever said, and I'll always say this, no matter economic issue or not, leverage is a powerful thing. And if you have friends and allies, they have friends and allies that you don't know exist. And it continues to compound. And that's what networking is all about. That's what mastermind is all about. Start looking for those groups and people that maybe you hated on because they were doing it and your lazy ass wasn't. Start learning to say, let me adjust my mindset here. Let me see what this guy was doing. Let me go on his Facebook or his LinkedIn or his web pages or whatever it is. Let me see what this guy really was doing. And let me tell you something. You'll be shocked as shit to learn that most of those people were doing it and you weren't. And that's something that you can start doing now, is start trying to position yourself and align yourself and use leverage to kind of get out of a rut. You'd be surprised how many people will stick out in the hand and say, if you're serious, I will help you. I'm one of those guys. If you're serious, I will help you. You just got to be serious. So you got to meet me in the middle. And that kind of comes down to my whole consulting mindset. I always said, I'll help anybody, but you got to meet me in the middle and let's get this done. So Christina, how does everybody get a hold of you? What are all your handles? What kind of mixers do you have in your Tito's? Tell the world.
No, I do not. I do. To me, it is a sin to mix anything with the teeth.
Damn, that's why you need Botox then. Those wrinkles are kicking in.
That's all. That's what I'm saying. Well, as of Monday, so first of all, as of Monday, we can go back to where we need to go. So Christina has already contacted her hairdresser and her eyelash person and her all the things.
What market are you in again?
So I'm not worried about that. But you can
what
find
market
us.
Are you in?
What's that?
What market are you in?
You mean where do I live? Delaware. I live in Delaware.
Gotcha. East Coast. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So our lockdown theoretically lifts on the 15th, but like apparently hairdressers and places like that are essential, so they open as of the 8th. So as of Friday, I think.
So you're all set. You're ready to go. You got it all. Ting, 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 ting.
First in line. So you can reach us at postalimpact.com. I'm telling you right now, I had to do my own nails through this, and I was like, okay, perfect. Now all I have to do is learn how to shoot Botox, fillers, eyelash extensions, hair color. After that, you can throw the zombie apocalypse at.
I hope you do that, but you have to set up the camera live so we could all experience it with you, because I want to see how this works. I want to see you with the gloves trying to inject yourself. I think everybody wants to see that, personally.
Postalimpact.com is where you can go for the completely done for you. There's the marketing hub. You can get to the marketing hub through postalimpact.com, but there
postalimpact.com.
PImarketinghub.com. And then if you're interested in virtual lead managers, virtualleadmanagers.com. Pretty cool. I'm on Facebook, but honestly, Ryan, I need to take a page out of your book. I've been saying forever that I need to be better about like being out there.
If you need any assistance, I could always just call me. I'll tell you how I get it done. I literally, I switch medias. Sometimes it's professional, sometimes it's selfie, sometimes it's like this. I switch it up, and that's part of the process.
Yeah. Well, and also, honestly, I do have a huge heart for, and that's why the Marketing Hub was designed. We have a lot of insight, and I really, especially in this moment, which is why we did what we did and lowered our pricing, I have a huge heart for just giving people information that will help them to make better marketing decisions, to make better business decisions, because there are KPIs and things like that we're aware of. So I'm really committed to that. I will reach out to you. I need help with that because I'm
anytime. I'm going to set up a meeting. I guess offline. We'll set up a meeting. I want you to talk with my partner on the app and see if there's anything we can do to collaborate anyway with what you've got going on. With what we have going on.
I really do. I know, I know my clients need that.
It's interesting because I was in a mastermind yesterday, and literally, you got like Todd Swagger, you got a lot of guys that have like Propelio, all these different things, and our system accommodates everybody. It's a value add. We're in competition with anybody. So I said, we can literally take over the world with this because we can just be a value add to every single platform everybody else is using, even as a one-off.
I really mean it. Please set that up because I know that there's a lot of people that we help that could be helped by what you've created.
No, absolutely. Not a problem. I appreciate that. We definitely will. So we had Christina Krause. She's an animal. She's awesome. Very real, very raw, very passionate. She is exactly, she should be a Rottweiler. She's like a female Rottie, man. That's what it is. So at the end of the day, she's awesome. Please reach out to her for any of your needs. I'm going to upload this. It'll record. I'll upload this. It's already being shared live. Please share it to your pages and in your network. I will upload this to a private YouTube page that we have for this Borderline Inappropriate, and then you can do whatever you'd like. And I hope it helps you. And I'm always here to help you.
I love it. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. I'll talk to you guys soon. I'll see you guys soon.
See you guys.